Let me ask you about the Durham resident on your team. What about Jay Huff's performance, particularly the 10 block shots and 9 rebounds?
Yeah. Well, first, I got to tell you, it made my heart smile to see Coach Holland sitting across the court and his wife. I don't even know if he saw me, but I looked at him. It was kind of late, 5 or 6 minutes, and I saw that, and it was a timeout, and I just looked at him and I smiled, and I thought of all he's done for this program. I thought of my dad, and I saw his wife, and it was a sweet moment. Saw Ralph there. So anyways, to answer your question about Jay, it was really cool because, we come into the locker room and Bach told me, hey, Jay just had 10 blocks. So we got a little door knocker, and I said, hey, they didn't know. I said, Bach, knock the door knocker 10 times. So he knocks it 10 times. And I said, you know what that was for? I said, that was 10 blocks by Jay Huff. He had 10, and everyone went crazy in the locker room. And then they calmed down, and I said, now the bad news. I said, Ralph Sampson had 12, so you're 2 behind. But, yeah, really, really happy for Jay. When you see young men, where he's from and the game he had, and we needed everything he brought. He was in foul trouble and everything everyone brought. But what long timing and length, and we needed it all.
It's hard to say that this is a rare thing coming off of a national championship, right? But you guys have done this time and time and time again all season long. Those plays down the stretch, what do you feel like went into your guys still being able to come through in the clutch? Is it just because they've done it so much, or what did you see from your team today?
Well, we've been in those spots a lot. You have to make plays defensively as much as offensively, and they were both made. Again, guys, whether it was a block at the rim, and Duke is so good defensively. I tell you, we were talking the way up. I don't know if we could have found any more points in the 52. They make it so hard with their pressure, and I'm so impressed with how hard they work defensively. But certainly a credit to making plays and being in those spots a lot. I think it does help. And again, very fortunate and thankful. But whether it was Kihei, Jay, Mamadi, boy, I tell you, Mamadi really made some nice plays too. And he at times allowed us to not double. We're going on Carey, who's a load, and Mamadi guarded him one-on-one at times, and he had that look in his eyes. And so when Mamadi is guarding like that and Jay is protecting the rim, that's formidable to a back line. So really good for front court.
The topic I want to ask you about, defending Carey and how well those 2 guys, and you mentioned not having to double the entire game. What did you think of the effort you got there defensively against him?
Terrific. I mean, he's such an excellent player and well-schooled, and he's hard to handle. But I thought, I'll watch the tape. I thought we did a really good job. There was a few times maybe we weren't perfect, but overall I thought we defended the way we had to, the interior. A couple times Trey Jones, I just had visions of his brother when he's rising up and making those threes, and Kihei didn't, inch up enough on him to bother him on a couple of those threes that he hit. And I remember his brother did it to us, just daggers back a few years ago, and I really had that thought when I saw it. I'm like, what is going on with this family? But they're winners and they're special, and but overall, yeah, we guarded the way we needed to and made enough plays.
Tony, the strategy not to have Kihei bring up the ball for parts of the game
that was not a strategy. That was Duke's strategy, and they executed it very well.
Okay,
we just when they did. Oh, go ahead and finish your question.
Just say, how did you think your guys handled that, and how did Kihei handle that?
It rattled us a little bit, and some teams have done that before, Florida State in particular, and I thought it rattled us at times. And then we got a little better, and we just tried to get into stuff, and we just had Kihei trying to set a ball screen to relieve some pressure, but they did a good job. That was smart on their part to either, if he didn't bring it in, if he didn't take it out, when he got it, they double him and get out of his hands, and then if he entered the ball, they wouldn't let him get it back. So it put pressure on us and had some turnovers that were costly, but then made enough plays, and it was a couple times a little scary, but that was their execution of making it hard for us.
Tony, it might not have been, it wasn't his best shooting game, but Mamadi seemed to have really good awareness when he had a mismatch.
Yeah, absolutely.
And how important was that for him to
Huge.
get those key buckets?
Our sideline out of bounds or underneath out of bounds, he kind of waited. And you're right, he had great feel, and then he sort of back dribbled the guy down and got the shot, and then the play he made late. And obviously there's a lot of contact, but I really like that. And again, I have to say how much I liked him defending and how tough he was that way. But he took advantages of those mismatches. That's tough when they're switching off ball screens, and Duke can do that with their personnel. But he was locked in that way, and he still had a couple of threes. But you're right, he left early some bunnies or missed some that he usually makes. But he was terrific.
Tony, back to Jay for back to Jay for a second. What if any correlation is there between his offense, specifically the dunks, leading to maybe his defensive motivation, or is it reverse that those blocks might lead to some offensive?
Probably both, and I mean, that's human nature when your offense is cooking. Defensively, everybody's kind of revved up, and I think Jay got a couple of terrific dunks and plays that he made. And I think, the crowd was just so excited in here. And I mean, you needed it all, but he was certainly fired up, and we got to keep stepping in the right direction with that, because his length is for real. And, again, it was a complete game for Jay. We'll take one more.
What are the main things you think your team is doing right now that it wasn't maybe doing in January?
Winning close games. How's that for you? No, because we've been in so many close games, and we just all of them except for Purdue. But I do think we've been getting a little more balanced scoring. Thomas hasn't the last couple games, but his ability to make some shots has stretched it, and just some alternate scoring, and just tightening up a little bit defensively, just a little better in all areas. We still have room to grow, but just a little better. And again, guys are making big plays. Mamadi, Thomas, Kihei, Jay down the stretch, and that's what it comes down to. Thanks. Oh.
Tony, how much is this what we often hear of as peaking at the right time?
I don't know. We're playing better ball. We've been close, as I said, but every game is so important for us. Where we were a month and a half ago, so you want to play your best basketball at the right time. And this league is so balanced. And again, as I told them, you have to be the best team. You have to try to outplay. And I don't know if we outplayed Duke. They're so good. But from 6 p.m. to about 8 p.m. or something after tonight, be the best team. And if you're the best team tonight, that's all you got to worry about. And I think our guys are taking that approach. Just be right, and they know it's a long game, and they've hung in there. And again, more balanced scoring, tightening up the defense. Braxton had us a good lift. So the guys that have experience it's been helping.